Blessings, 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 everybody. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Vested in Milwaukee. I am your host, Dr. David D. King. It's good to be with you guys again today. Also, candidate for the mayor for the city of Milwaukee. So I'm excited to be with you guys on today. And today I have again with me, I'm blessed to have him, good friend of mine, good brother in the Lord of mine, a man who also is invested in Milwaukee, born from Milwaukee. He's a breed of Milwaukee. If anybody say, can anything good come out of Milwaukee, you're about to meet two of them, myself and my dear friend, Coach Moore. God bless you, sir.
Hey, how's it going? Pastor King, thank you, man, for having me on again. It's an honor to just be on the show. So I know before the show started, you said, the goal today is to get into this brain, ask some of those key questions so we can help the people maybe dissect their situation and just, live a better financial life, right?
Amen. And what I'm going to do, let me see if I got it over here. I do. So what I'm going to do to get into that head is that if anybody that anybody that is watching and have a question that has a question, let me just make sure it's not on Bluetooth. Okay, it is. Anybody that has a question can call in now. I set up the call in so they can call in or text into the box some questions that we can get into that brain, because that brain of yours, we got to get into it. So
hey, sometimes I need to activate it. I like, really something when the question comes, that's when it starts activating. Okay, Dr. King, I need those questions so I can, everybody's in a different situation, right? And a lot of times people just don't know what that next step is. And God blessed us to be able to help people through to figure out what that next step is. And also, explaining them why it's the next step. You know what I mean?
Yes. And one of the things that I want to bring up right away is when I talk to people about business, right? I tell them, I say, listen, you can look at business as three ways. It can be a thriving business, it can be a hobby, or it can become a debt.
That's right.
And so, and I think people want to have their own. They hear the word entrepreneur, they go out and they just jump in the water. Don't know if they can swim or not. Don't know the currency or nothing. And so, why don't you start off with you yourself? You started off at the age of 16 as a barber. Come on, let them hear that, because, and then I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to tell you why I asked you that question. Okay, so starting off as a young man.
Yeah, so I started off, early on in business as a young man. I was a barber. I was in the barber shops at the age of 16, 17 years old. And I didn't have license, but I could cut well. So I cut so well that, the owner of the salon said, well, we're going to help you get these licenses. We're going to let you work under this manager. And so that's why I started. I started cutting hair, and, as I was cutting hair, I seen these gentlemen would come in and they would sell products, right? They would sell, clothes, CDs. You know how the people sell things when they come around. Yep. And these guys, pastor was making more money in 10 minutes. And it took me all day to make $100 or so. And they would come in 10 or 15 minutes and sell products, and they walk out with a couple $100. And so I said, wow, that's what got me into the other side of the business, right? Because obviously in in some respects, being a barber is entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
That's the base of entrepreneurship. But I seen more. And like you said, a lot of us have multiple ideas and things that we want to do. We start at one place and then we build. But I seen those guys come in and they would sell those products, man. And I said, well, I need to buy some products myself. And so I did that. And I put them behind my workstation. And so as I'm cutting, my client's hair, I said, hey, man, I have these watches, some nice watches. Hey, you want these clothes I have right here? And so, what I learned is that, wow, I was making just as much money or more money from the merchandise that I had, as well as doing the hair. And so that's what got me to, forming my own barbershop and clothing store. It was called More Than Just Fades. I was on the corner of 23rd and Fond du Lac in Milwaukee. It used to be the old bike shop, right? Old bike shop. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I was there for a good while, maybe 10 years. But what I did was I had a barbershop where I had multiple stations now. So I grew from, paying a booth rent to having stations where other people were paying me booth rents. And then I had a store, in the beginning part of the barbershop where people would come in and buy merchandise. And, that was the beginning of me. And, like I said, your entrepreneur plight, a lot of times you don't know what direction it's going to go in. So I went from selling that merchandise in somebody else's salon to have my own salon with the merchandise. And then what I started doing, Pastor, was I started wholesale distributing, right? Meaning that not only was I selling to the public, I was selling to other stores or individuals that would want to come in and sell on the streets their products. And so I started doing wholesale distribution. And from there is where, this big thing about the banks and the bank money, because I hit this glass ceiling, right? Where I said, well, I need more money so I can do this again, so I can have another barbershop with a clothing store, or you understand? Mm-hmm. And so I said, man, I need about $30,000 or $40,000 to do this. I don't have that right now. So of course, my mindset was go to the bank and see if you can get the money. So I went to the bank to get the money. The banker said, nope, Darvin, not today. Your credit scores aren't where they need to be. You need to go this and that. I did exactly what she said, and I couldn't get the money. And what I realized is that the bankers, and that particular banker, didn't understand really how credit really worked. She tried to do the best job she could. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything from her, but she didn't understand. She told me to go pay a couple collections off and come back and see her. I did that, and my scores were about the same. And I came back and I still couldn't get the loan. And so I had to figure out, what does it take to get these scores where they need to be? And there's so much misinformation out in the realm of how this works that, man, Dr. King, we got to figure out some ways to really grasp, communities and people so we can give them the right information. So much misinformation, man. These people are going to be going down the wrong road, or, it may take them much longer to get there. It might take them 5 years to get to a place. Had they come up under our leadership, they could have got there in 5 months, Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I wanted you to go that route is because I am a head coach of Kingdom Prep Lutheran High School. It's an all-boys high school. Okay. And I met with the parents, and I'm still meeting with some more parents, and I says, let's take basketball and put it as plan B. What's your child plan A? And I asked the young man, what is it that you guys want to do? You can tear your ACL, your MCL, you can destroy your ankle or your knee, and now you can't play ball. So what is it that you might want to do if that doesn't work? And a lot of them were saying, I want my own business. And one young man, he wants to cut hair. So I created him a flyer for him to market his cutting hair. And then I says, I got to use what God given me, the network he's given me, to help them be successful in what they want to do in life. And one said he want to own a restaurant. So I went to a friend of mine. I says, I need him to shadow you through Vested in Milwaukee. And so he can learn the whole operation of restaurant, dining, the whole 9 yards. He agreed to it. And so I told I told one mother, I used your technology that you fed me, and I told the mom, what you need to do is that you need to put him on your credit card now. Don't give him a card, just let him be a writer. So this way, he can begin to build his personal credit. I said, but then I got a friend, I got a brother I'm going to introduce them to so he can help them build their business credit so they don't have to use their personal credit. And now the business is not a business no more, is now a debt. And so, and the reason I asked that because we have a lot of these young men at this school that's trying to start their business or getting it going, to the fact where I'm trying to help them, right? And I want them to have a head start, because we didn't have a head start. We had to learn. We failed. We got, like you said, we got misinformation. We was lied to. They took our money and say, we're going to help you do this and do that, and it never come to pass. So I want them to avoid all of that and says, this is what you really have to do. And I told them about you, and I told them how you started as a barber and the success that you're having now. And like you say, this misinformation. So what would you say to those that are listening or going to listen that are 17, 18, 19, 20? We'll get to the older ones, but the 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds that got in their mind they want to do a business.
Oh man, listen. First, let me say this, Dr. King. I really appreciate you thinking about me in this light with the youth. That's my mission, and that age is the perfect age. It's our responsibility to help them skip grades, and how this go, because they are future, right?
Yes,
they are the future. And so it's our job to give them the most information that we can to help them in what they're doing. And so first I want to say, to the youth that's listening, congratulations, right, for just being in the arms of some individuals that want to see you win. And I also want to say that, business is not easy, right? It's not an easy thing. You have to focus in on it, but the payout is great. It's just really following steps. The way I see it, God blessed me to be able to give an individual certain steps so that they can make sure that they get this access they need. Now we just need to make sure that we're building the right plan of what it is that we want to accomplish. The plan is important, and I like this analogy that you said, Dr. King. I never looked at it that way. You said, I always said a business or a hobby, but you went to say business, hobby, or debt. That's even deeper because it makes them wonder. Because a lot of people it's just a hobby that they're doing. It's not a business. I have people that would leave their job making, 60, 70,000 a year to go into this business that they thought was a business, but it was a hobby because it wasn't even making them, 10 or 20,000 a year. And, and they left the job. And so what I would like to say to the youth is we're here to help you build out a plan. If that's what you need help with, come up with that business name. I know Dr. King, he want me to go in and give some real details. Let's come up with a nice business name that you want to have. That's always the first step. And, I always say this, Dr. King, for people as well, and I'll do this with the youth as well. How much money do you want this business to make the first year? Right? Because if we do that, now we see, and then we can reverse engineer that. So let's say, for instance, the young man say, well, I want to make my first year, coach, I want to make $24,000. That's for the sake of the story. Now, that means, okay, young man, if that's how much you want to make, then that's approximately $2,000 a month, okay, that the business needs to bring in to get you to that point. Now, what's your business model? What kind of business is it? Okay, so now what steps do we put in play to make sure we meet that deliverable. You follow me, Dr. King? So like,
oh yes,
now that's the best. That's one of the things that even with the, I know you said we're gonna start with the young ones, but even for the adults, they don't have that in mind. And really, that's the business plan. The business plan shows you how much you should be making or what your projections are. So I would love to see, okay, well, this is how much I want to make. And this helps you with the thoughts. Now, I will say this too, Dr. King, that the young ones coming through, business, I want you all to be in business. And let's not leave out the fact that real estate is a very important tool, because most of the young men are going to be staying somewhere. And so maybe that house should be in that plan, whether that's a duplex or a fourplex, because the young ones coming through, they shouldn't have bad credit, personal credit, which means they have an opportunity to get a real estate property as their first investment, a duplex, right, Dr. King? So now they have a little bit of income coming in to help them kind of offset what they're doing in this new business realm.
Oh yes, and I'm so glad you said it like that, because one of the things that I share with them when they want to open up a business is I says, what's so unique about your business? Because everybody can sell cookies. What's different about your cookies? Everybody can have a clothing line. What's different about your clothing line? What makes yours more unique than anybody else, right? And and they was like, okay, so one young man says, so what do you do? I said, I'm a business coach and a consultant, right? And then they was like, so what makes you different than everybody else? I said, I can market it. I can do logos. I can, I add more to mine than just being a business coach, and I can teach you how to run a business according to the Word of God. And I can teach a business class that I teach is out of Genesis 1:28. I break it down. I said, that's what makes me different than anybody else. See, they'll tell you what to do, but can they help you get there, or have they ever experienced or been there themselves? And so, because as you and I know, so many people now calling themselves coaches, but not really qualified to say coaches, So just because somebody's saying they're a coach doesn't mean that they're a coach.
Right.
And just like me coaching basketball, the parents are saying, you are different than any other coach, because you're looking at off the court. You're looking at their life. You're looking at their future. You're looking at things that they're dealing with on a daily basis, And so we have to become more unique. Even when you open up your business, what's going to make your business different than somebody else's? Don't just do it because everybody wants a t-shirt line or hoodie line, or, what is it that you want? Because your passion, I tell people, your passion will produce your purpose. So what is it that you really want? So let's take a senior in high school, because I love talking about the youth today.
Yes, sir.
That senior in high school that and let's use the real estate part on this, right? Okay. So that senior in high school, what would be your first suggestion to that senior that want to start his business, and they heard this conversation that we're having about the real estate? Now, most of them, they go the long way, and then they forget about real estate because everybody tell them, go to school, go this route. What would you tell them what route to take as a young person going into this to get a property?
Right. Great question. So as a young person, what I would say, really right at 18 years old, and they don't have to be 18, really. I mean, they can start younger if they want and establish a business. You don't have to be 18 to establish a business, but focusing on the real estate, that first piece of real estate, I would want that first piece of real estate to be in that young person's name, right? The first one. Reason being is because the interest rate is going to be lower. You're going to pay, about 3% as a down payment, versus if you did it in a business name or an investment property, that interest rate is higher. So a senior, what I would do is, this first step is I want them to start focusing on building their personal credit. Okay. It should only take no more than about 3 to 6 months for them to build that credit, Pastor, for them to qualify for a house and be able to qualify to get capital that they can put as the down payment on the house if needed. So that way they win automatically. Now, I will also say for that young 18-year-old, they don't have to have a job, but having a job or a track record is always good. All banks are not going to require that. Okay. But in most cases, it's best to have, have a little job where they can see that some type of income is coming in, so that you won't have no problems when you sit down at the table with the bank and say, I want this house. Now, I do recommend that they get at least a duplex, right? Because with a duplex, they can stay in one place and another tenant can stay in the other, which means now they're neutralized. Well, really, they're not paying any rent. They're able to be able to stay for free, right? Now, in addition to that, maybe they could get a 4-unit, right? If they had the 4-unit, now they're making a profit for sure every single month. Now the thought process can be, okay, now I'm in a safe zone. I don't have to worry about, getting me some dollars in, to just take care of the status quo. Now I can, use some of my time and energy to start focusing on building this business. And I have a piece of real estate property behind me as my base. So I hope I answered that question. Now, let me get a little bit more deeper on the credit. On the credit side, what we want to do is we want, as soon as they turn 18, we want to be able to add them to, their parents' credit card or someone's credit card as an authorized user, right? At least 2 cards. What that's going to do is that's going to help the young man scores rise. Okay. And as soon as it reports, meaning if they're 18 today, in 30 days, their scores can be in the 700s if they had someone add them to 2 cards the day they turn 18. Now, I want to be specific about these cards. These cards need to have a couple of years history to them. Okay. And in addition to that, the balance on the credit card needs to be 10% or less of the total limit. And what that means is if someone adds you to a card and it's $1,000 limit, they should only be using $100 or less. Because if they're using more, then it's going to affect your credit score in a negative way, which means we can't make it to that goal. Okay. Now, be added to 2 cards. And then lastly, I would like them to be added to something called rental karma. Okay. Rental karma. And that is just giving you history showing that you are paying rent on time. So you could be paying your mom some rent, your grandmother, somebody some rent, so we can get that reported on your credit report. And that's going to unlock and open the door for banks to say, hey, young man, you've been paying people on time. You're doing good. We're going to give you a shot and try at this house. We're going to give you a shot and try at this credit card. We're going to give you a shot and try at this business loan that you want for this barbershop, that you want for this potential restaurant, that you want for this potential clothing store. So we have to build that track record now.
I'm so glad you said that, and I'm gonna come back to that real quick, but I want to say something. Do not, I repeat, do not rent to a deadbeat family member.
Yeah, right.
They will mess you up. Yeah. And so I just had to say that, because sometimes what we do is we get property and we put family in there, and now you're in a hole.
Family is out. Family out. No, yeah, no, you're right. The thing is, your first mind, if they ain't the right people anyway. I don't like, I've rented to family and I haven't had the best time. And so this is what Pastor is saying. Property management is good. Maybe a young one coming through shouldn't even be the one renting. You should pay a property management company to do that for you, so you won't even have to deal with the tenant, right? Because sometimes it could be overwhelming. And the focus for the young man that we're talking to is real business and in the future. And we don't want you to be a property manager. And that's the business model you want. But,
right.
you know, we want you to have multiple properties. We want you to be able to have staff or people that's taking care of the business for you. So fit that into the budget.
Now, you talked about having a history of paying rent on time. And so a high schooler, a senior turning 18. So how many months should they have? Should it be like 6 months, like they doing being put on a credit card for like 90 days, or how long should?
So the thing is, if they're 18, you know, in most cases you really can't say I've been paying rent long. But what you could do, I had people that were 18 and said that they were paying rent at the place they had, or they paying rent to, you know, their mom who owns a house or whatever that is for at least 6 months now. Right. So if you just turn 18, I think that you can, I can say you can go back 6 months to say that you've been paying rent X amount of dollars, whether it's 100, 500, 300, whatever that portion is. I've been paying that for the last 6 months. Right. But if you're so I would go to make it make more sense that back to 17 and a half. I've been paying rent since I've been 17 and a half.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. So we learning, man, I'm love getting in your head because I'm learning a lot myself right now. So so when we look at it, whether they 18 or 45 or 50, and they're looking to do their business. I know I see a lot of people with their business plan, but you know what I see off is their business plan, and it looks good, but then you say, show me your priority list, and it doesn't line up. Right. You know, and
that's funny.
and the reason it doesn't line up because when you look at a business plan, it's going to cost some time. You got to put some time in it. And then when you look at the priority, they feel like they don't have enough time. So for somebody who say they want a business, who write the business plan, but the priority list is not lining up, what would you say to somebody like that?
Man, that's a great question, man. You breaking it down. You trying to give it to them for real, ain't you, Pastor? Yes, man. You know, and that's the thing. How much time do you really want to commit, you know, to this project? You know, I think that's what I'm blessed and make me such a great coach, because I'm also an accountability partner. Because if you in with me and we talking this, I'm gonna make sure you know what the next steps are, and we're gonna have timelines on when these steps are done. We're gonna have follow-up calls and make sure these steps are met so we can get to this next hurdle. Now, I will say that in a lot of cases, and in most cases, I really don't recommend that a person use their own money. I recommend that they start building out their profile, their business profile, and their banking relationships so they can access the bank's money to start pushing the plan. Because if you start using your own money and the plan is not going too well or too fast, a lot of times people get discouraged. So it's best to have a money plan, to build a plan to get access to the capital, and then you take that capital and you delegate, right? Because a lot of times, Pastor, they can't do all of it. They can't do the social media. They can't. Right. They don't even have the skill set to do it. But you need to be finding the people that can. In order to do that, you need the money. And so in a lot of cases, anytime somebody's building a business, I always say build the business credit first, the profile first, so that you can get the bank's money, and then you take that money, right? 0% interest. So in a lot of cases, we can get money from the banks at 0% interest. And now that gives you a time and window to be able to build that business accordingly without using your money, without being stressed, right, Pastor? That's the route that I normally would go. Now, of course, it could be on a case-to-case basis. Where's the person at? What are they doing? And maybe there's some things inside the business we can be doing now. But like I say, money. We need money, Pastor.
Yes.
And sometimes they have the business idea and they put it on the back burner because now they got to go work this 9 to 5 or go do this other hustle that's taking a lot of their time because they never put enough time into building out the business right, which is accessing the bank's money.
Yes. And you know what I'm also finding out is people that used to be in network marketing, right? And they leave network marketing to start a different business. They still have the network marketing mindset, because you know the network marketing, you can do it part-time. You know, you don't have to put a lot of time in it. But now you switch, right? And now you're in this business, whether it's a food truck or whatever, where it's requiring a lot of your time, where you don't really want to do that because you can't see finance coming in as quick. So you haven't shifted from a network marketing. And don't get me wrong, network marketing is great, and I know a lot of people making great money out of that. But you can't have a network marketing mindset and you want to own a Burger King,
right?
You know, because it's going to cost more of your time.
Right.
And so a lot of people get frustrated once they shift. They get frustrated and want to quit because the money that they're looking for is not coming now, because now you got more payouts with the business than you did with network marketing. And like you say, we got to get the finance, we got it so you can breathe to actually run that business. And so as a person that I see, and I'm gonna give you an example, and you tell me your part on this, right? A young man set up a business, wouldn't listen, and he set up the business, and he put his social security number on that business. Well, child support found out about it, and now there's a lien on that business. And so he can't get anything because now when he try to go get business credit, they see the child support on that child support has a lien on it. What would you tell him on how to fix it? I already know what you're going to say, but I just want you to say it so everybody else.
Right, Pastor. It depends. There's a few different ways you can look at that. If it's a lien on the business, then one of the things you may want to do is you can dispute that. That's something that you can dispute, right? Business disputes is one. Of course, you can form another company, right? You can form another company, and now that's not attached there, okay? And then lastly, all banks aren't created equally, right? All banks don't check those type of things. It just depends on what loan and what products you're looking for to help with that, right? Like for instance, some banks put a UCC filing similar to what you're saying, like this child support lien. So if you go get a loan from a bank, let's take US Bank, you go get a $50,000 business loan from them, they do what's called a UCC filing, Universal Commercial Code filing. It's almost like, the same as the child support in other banks' eyes. Even if you paid the loan back to US Bank or whatever, that document is still on file at the courthouse. And that's what some banks pick up that system, and they don't like anything on the business that may be there. But all banks aren't like that. So it's just that he has to do his homework, multiple banking relationships, right? Pastor King, we talk about that all the time. What one bank won't do, the next one will. And we have to understand that. So it's not over for the young man. He just got to keep moving and regroup, right? Re-strategize.
Well, I'm going to make sure I send him your way.
Yeah.
maybe he'll listen to you, know.
Hey, if they don't listen, normally they don't listen. If they don't listen, they don't listen, right?
Right. So what would you say to someone that had a business or have a business, and the business been going for a couple of years, it looked like it's declining, and like you say, if we ain't got the money, we can't do anything, and they need to clean up, because and I'm finding out a lot of businesses don't even know Don and Bradshaw is, right? So
down in Bradstreet, down in
down
right?
in Bradstreet. I'm sorry,
DMB, sure, DMB, yeah.
Yeah. So they don't know what that is. They don't know, and they've been in business for a while because, again, the information they was never given, right?
Yep.
So is it hopeless for them, or can they be resurrected?
Well, yeah. So it's never over, right? If you breathing, listen, we got daylight. I don't know if your business model got daylight, but if you breathing, that means we can live another day. What do that mean, Dr. King? We may not, maybe we shouldn't focus in on that business and money, but maybe we should focus on a new thought process of let's create a new business to access money so we can do better now. You follow me? And then a lot of times too, where what I notice a lot of businesses losing is just in interest, how much they paying for the money that they obtaining. So be very careful about, you know, certain terms and certain loans, right? Banks know when you're desperate. You don't need to be, if you're in business, you shouldn't be paying 20+% interest on anything. But if you don't prepare for the bank, if you don't prepare your business profile and your personal profile, the bank going to charge you more interest. So this is why preparation is key as well. You prepare so that you can have a better rates. And in addition to that, banks are giving away 0% interest. So if we're strategic enough, now we can use that money without paying interest. Let me give you a real quick scenario. Somebody paying a $50,000 loan versus somebody paying a $50,000 0% interest line. Okay. A $50,000 loan, let's just say that, you know, that person is probably going to be paying approximately, if it's pushed out, let's call it, let's say that loan is pushed out, they're going to be paying approximately, you know, $2,000 a month, okay, or $1,500 a month on that $50K loan. Now, if they had that at 0% interest, how much they pay a month? Nothing, right? Or $500 a month. Right? $500 a month, but that 500 is going straight towards the principal, which is paying the balance of that 50K down. Versus if you got 50K regularly and you're paying interest on it, you're paying $1,500 a month, it's not bringing that principal balance down. So we're really losing money every month because we took the wrong loan.
Wrong loan.
Wrong loan. Hey, I like how you said it, Pastor King. Wrong loan. We should have a show just called Wrong Loan.
Yes, you're absolutely right, because a lot of people don't understand wrong loan. You know, just like I remember when you first started teaching, you was letting people know, do not mess with those secure credit cards.
Secure credit card. That's right. Yeah.
But what did they do? They ran out and got a secure credit card. Wrong loan. You know, people need to know these things. And I tell people all the time, knowledge is information. In order to have the knowledge, you got to be willing to open up and receive the information to not only be a blessing to your business, but to your customers, right? Because here's the thing. If you in debt, you're going to raise your price. And if you raise your price up, you're going to lose your customers because they're going to go find something else that they're not paying that high price. And so, you know, you want to make customers for life. That's what you want to do. You want to make customers for life. So I got to give them the best service at the best cost. And so if I'm running around trying to pay off the wrong loan, then I can destroy everything.
Destroy it all. Pastor King, look, my daughter, she came in and we're going to say hi to her and she going to go, okay?
Hey, beautiful.
Hey. Yeah, okay. All right, baby. I'm on the call right now, okay? I'll be out in a minute. Yeah. No, that's wrong loan. And, you know, normally, Pastor, when I assess a person or I'm looking at a person's profile, those are some of the first things I look for. I look to see where we're losing money at, right? I like to earn my position. I say, well, look, you lose $1,200 a month right here. And 1 or 2 phone calls, we can adjust this. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we don't pay attention, man. We just pushing it. We're not using strategy. And so this goes for the individuals that's making millions of dollars as well. Yep. It's wrong understanding. And so that's key. And the power of 0% interest. We always should be knowing that there's banks that's giving up 0% interest. Zero. If we don't have that, then we're not paying attention, Pastor.
Yes. And you know, I'm so glad you said that. Hey, Brother Fred, good to see you. Good topic, much needed today. Yes. And that's something that can you break down what you mean about 0% interest? Because, you know, in somebody's mind, they probably don't even know what 0% interest means. So can you just break it down a little bit?
Yeah, and it's very important. So banks today are giving away 0% interest introductory, like with their credit card products. U.S. Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all the top ones. You got credit unions and community banks doing it as well. So introductory, meaning when you apply for this credit card, they'll give you 0% on whatever you use for the first 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months, depending on the bank, depending on the product. Now, if you have a $10,000 credit card right now, and you're using the $10,000 and you're paying interest on it, that payment is probably about $300 a month. Okay. Now, that $300 that you're paying on that credit card, when you pay that $300, next month, your balance is going to be $9,995. Okay. Meaning you paid 300 something bucks, but only $5 went towards the principal. Okay. So you really lost 300 and something dollars. Now, if that $10,000 was on a 0% credit card, so what you can do, you could call the bank and get another credit card for $10,000 and transfer the balance over. Now, first off, the monthly payment is going to be a lot less. It's going to be $100 a month if it's $10,000, and that whole $100 go towards the principal. Meaning it's not going to be $10,000 when you pay the $100. It's going to be $9,900. Now, if you were continue to pay the $300 like you've been paying it, now it's going to be $9,700 owed versus $9,995. The system is just getting all our money, Dr. King. If we go on the block, it's probably 30, 40 houses on the block. We knock on all of those doors. Don't listen. We can build our own communities with the money that we're giving away or we're losing that we ain't paying attention to.
Say that one more time.
We don't need them. We need ourselves. We need to focus and pay attention on what we're dishing out. It's already here. We got it.
Yes. And I need you to say that one more time, that we could build our own community. You got to say that again, because that's powerful right there.
We can build our own communities with the money that we're just losing that we're not paying attention to. We can build our own parks, our own schools, our own gyms, our own everything with the money that we're losing because nobody came to teach the class. Nobody's paying close attention. We need to have a team of people every month knocking on doors saying, hey, and educating us just a little bit on like we just did just now. Right. Yes. And the question is this. Remember this. I say this normally, like when I do a lecture or seminar, I say, if you're paying interest on a credit card, then you don't understand how credit works. So I try to hack their brain right there. I said, what you mean? Listen, you shouldn't be paying interest on a credit card. You're losing money. You're supposed to go get a card with 0% interest and transfer it over.
That is, man. You're saying some stuff. I'm telling you.
Hey, don't get me started. Look,
you're saying, and this is all about. This is what Invested in Milwaukee is all about. Just investing, giving knowledge so people can understand. And for example, the city of Milwaukee, right? Their credit score just went down. So their interest rate that they're going to be paying off that money is sky high. And people wondering why they're attacking them, why they raising this up and bringing this fee and this new tax. And then because if you at home and your credit score is low and your interest rate's high, or your business credit score is low and the interest high, then what you think a city, when a whole city.
Oh man, you talking, man. Yeah.
See, and so, and if we don't understand business, if we don't how are we gonna have leadership who don't understand what we're talking about? How can they represent us?
Look, you went from the block to the city. You hear me?
Yes.
Hey man, that's a fact. And you know, I've been in contact with a lot of the officials. It's a lot of them that came and recognized some of my classes that we've helped out. But people are moving so fast that they forgetting the basics.
Right.
Dr. King, we got to go back to the basics. See, financial literacy is just not a one-day thing. It's not a one training thing. It's a life thing, because money is a life thing. Yes. Moving money every day. The bank's changing their rules and regulations every day. So if you're not in tune, then you better find somebody that is. You better listen to, Invested in Milwaukee show. You better follow Coach Darwin or follow somebody that's in the now of how things are moving. It's important, right? Yes. What one bank won't do, the next one will. So if this bank ain't giving up money this year, this other bank got new products. Maybe this is the bank that you should be looking at. So these are the things, and maybe we should have a community initiative or a city initiative to be direct about how we can increase a city's credit score. You hear me, Dr. King? How can we increase the city credit score higher than any other city has ever done? This can be done, sir, with just simple principles.
It's going to be done once I become mayor.
Hey, well, let's do it.
Because we're going to get this done, and so. And people don't understand, the better city credit score, the lower stuff then that cost that they're giving on us, because it's on every family, everybody that owns a house. The city street light is on your water bill, because they're trying to find ways to make that money, because bad management and don't understand finance the way they should understand finance. Right. Even what they're investing in. It's just crazy to see. So, like you said, all the money we wasting, we can have, and in the neighborhoods, it starts with family, empowering family to know finance, to understand credit, to understand how to use the credit. Then you go from family to community, from community to the city, from the city to the state, and on. But it has to start right here locally. We have to get people, especially the ones coming up now, we have to get them to a place where they have the knowledge to understand personal business credit so they can survive. And the beauty of the credit world is it ain't a color thing.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. It's not a color.
Not on his face. I ain't gonna get too deep on that, but not on his face it ain't color, right? But me being in the paint so long, I've seen some of the works. But like you said, it's not color coded, but you got to think too, it's zip coded, right?
It's zip coded. Yes.
So zip codes is color coded in one aspect, right? And then in other aspects, you have some. I'll give you an example, and you said it, so that's why I'm going here with it.
Come on.
So I had some clients that we had a bank that we targeted that we were going to go get products from, and so I had two different groups. One group went to the bank and had no problems at all, getting everything they needed, no nothing, and then another group went to the bank and they had problems. And the one group was of one race and the other one was a different race. And the one that was African American had better overall scores, better everything. And they got denied on some products, and they also wanted more information versus the other cultural person that I had go in there. So in some cases, those elements still exist, but we can get around it. I'm just showing you how inside, okay, right, Dr. King, that we see that. Meaning, right, and how is it color coded? Because when you do an application for credit, in some cases, they say, what? Send your ID.
Right.
You got me? So that underwriter gets to see that ID, and sometimes, you know, that happens. Yes, sir.
Right. And I was studying something, and I can't remember it, but there was something, a lady was doing a teaching, and they did what you said. They went to the bank, right? Mm-hmm. And the underwriters wrote them and denied them, and they set up a meeting with the underwriter, and they gave them this code. And when they gave the underwriter this code, the underwriter automatically changed their mind because of this code that I got to get it. But this code, and when they gave the code, the underwriter eyes was like, "Buck, like, how do you know this code?" And right, when they gave the code, no matter what the amount it was they asked for, they gave it to them.
Awesome. And they got the genie code. Look, I want to say something on top of that too, Dr. King, that just because we get denied, guys, that don't mean it's over with, right? What we do is we do what's called a reconsideration for our application, because it could be something that, you know, that person, that underwriter seen that day, or it could have been a computer system that said you were denied. And maybe you need to have somebody go in there and look at that deeper. And so what you do is you call them and say, hey, I want to do a reconsideration on this application. Now, make sure if you do a reconsideration that they're not pulling another inquiry, because if they are, then you don't want to do it. You can go to another bank that may give you the product.
That's so good. Man, we got so much I'm glad we're doing these once a month. We might need to do 2 a month. I don't know, because
well, they need the information, Dr. King. That's for sure.
Yes. And so, man, we got 7 minutes before my hour with you is gone. Man, I tell you, this stuff, it gets so good, man. But let's go back to the youth real quick, because I'm really geared to them right now, because I want them to have a hand up, and when they coming out of high school and having this opportunity to do whatever they desire to do. And I know a lot of parents start them off at 15, 16, 12, 8, starting a business, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking at a group of young men, probably in the wrong zip code, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, and we're trying to help them get the products that they need to be a successful business owner, starting with real estate, excuse me. And so I like the way you put it, a duplex or a 3 to 4 unit thing. So my question is, should they go in and go for the real estate, or should they have their parents in there co-signing for that real estate?
For that first piece of property? No, they don't need a co-signer. They should be, you know, now the parent can be with them for support, you know, just with them, making sure that they're doing, you know, things in the right order. But no, we're talking about themselves being able to get that property in their name so it can show up on their credit report, so the future of them can show stability. Because one of the things about credit in the future, because we always thinking about the future, right? That young man 18 now, but he's going to be 20, he's going to be 24, he's going to be 26, and he's going to be going to the bank. And if he's going to go to the bank, the banker, the underwriter, we want to see the underwriter see that this young man had a house at 18, Dr. King. He's been paying it on time, right? Good track record. So now we get the benefit in multiple different programs for money from the banks so that we can grow whatever business empire we're trying to grow.
Gotcha.
And the other reason, now, I'm not saying that if they want to add their mom or dad to it, it may be okay. But the thing, when you do that, the mom and dad got to have good credit. Okay. And you know, that's the main thing. The mom and dad have to have good credit. And now what you're doing too is you're mixing money a little bit. Gotcha. So now that young man has to, you know, it's almost like a partnership, right? Your parent is your partner now. And I'm not saying that I don't want you to do that, but that's just something you need to think about. We're, you know, me and you are trying to arm these young men to stand up and be who they need to be without anybody, if they don't have to have anybody. If they want a partner, then they have that opportunity.
Awesome. So we got 3 to 4 minutes. I'm gonna turn it over to you. Give your final thoughts and share your heart, if you don't mind, with everybody. So I'm gonna put you on the screen all by yourself. There you go.
All right. Everybody listening today, no matter where you are today, tomorrow is coming, and we can help you get yourself to this next level, no matter where you are today. Okay. If you already in business and your business is not doing well, there are strategies that we can put together to offset that, right? Or maybe we just need to just stop with this business and have another idea and create and build access, okay? Wherever your personal credit is today, it does not make a difference. We can help you with strategies, get those scores where they need to be so you can regroup and get the access that you need. Financial literacy is an ongoing thing. What I would love for you to do is commit to 15, 20 minutes a week so that you can listen in on coaches or financial literacy classes or courses or what have you, because it's very important that you arm yourself with this information. Because if you don't, there's individuals, there's people, and there's banks or companies that will prey upon you and charge you more because they know that you don't understand. Okay. So I want to say that I thank Dr. King for allowing me to come in on this platform and give you this information. And I will be back, and I'm waiting on you guys to reach out to me or Dr. King so we can get you to the next level of the game. This is the coach, guys. Peace.
All right, y'all. I'm just blessed to have the coach. I tell y'all, all I got to do is call him, and he said he on board. And so I'm just grateful and blessed that the people in my area, in my network, that if I call, they'll come just as much if they know if they call me, I'm there. And so we're vesting. We Coach Moore and myself, we are vested in Milwaukee. Our heart is for Milwaukee. We want to see the people in Milwaukee prosper. We want to see them empowered. And it's not just Milwaukee, it's wherever this podcast go across the state. And then once we take it, the audible piece, it goes across the world. So we want people to be empowered because of the things that we know and all the information and knowledge that we have. Make sure everybody else have it. So you guys, we're not going to take up the coach anymore, the coach time. We just grateful to have him with us. Beautiful daughter. Next time, hey, and don't be shocked, y'all. His daughter know about credit. I tell y'all, she know credit. You know, so I did a show with one of his daughters, and they broke down that credit. So you guys, he's just not talking. He's empowering his own children with it as well. And I believe your son, right, when he was 21, he had multiple businesses.
Yeah. So when he was 19, he had 3 businesses and access to approximately like $200,000 in available credit to use and deploy how he wanted and whatever those plans were.
Oh, amen. So you guys, It's all about empowering. So we're grateful. Again, we thank Coach Moore. We thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, we want to say God bless you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining us. And then we will see you soon.